Ancient empires lasted longer, generally speaking, than modern states. For example, the pharaohs ruled Egypt for a staggering period of 3,000 years. That's 12 times longer than the United States has been around. Yet, even though these ancient societies constitute the bulk of human history, we often know little about how the average person lived in ancient times. One of the few exceptions to that rule is the Roman Empire, for which we have rich information to reconstruct what daily life was like for a resident of the great empire. Rome was an empire of cities and towns. At its height in the 2nd century CE, the empire's population was between 70 and 80 million. 25% to 30% lived in towns, a rate of urbanization that would not be seen again on Earth until the 19th century. Rome was the greatest of these cities, with perhaps a population of 1 million at its peak in the 2nd century CE. For our purposes here, we will assess daily life in the Eternal City at this time. The average Roman rose before sunrise. This was an age before electric light, and people took advantage of the sun's natural rays as much as possible. Breakfast was light, consisting of little more than pancakes and water, perhaps with some watered-down wine, as was the custom in ancient times. Then people headed to work. The poorer classes would have worked in food preparation, construction work, and the many other types of manual labor involved in a society that did not have machines to carry out such tasks. Enslaved people were ubiquitous, making up 25% of the population, and would have been seen everywhere in Rome, though their lives were perhaps not as grim as those of enslaved people in other societies. The middle classes might have worked as scribes and bureaucrats in an empire that needed hundreds of thousands of administrators and writers, as the Romans never developed the art of printing. The upper classes were leisured and did not work in the modern sense. Lunch for the average Roman consisted of cold cuts of meat, cheese, fruit, salad, and of course, bread, the latter of which was provided as a free dole staple to every free Roman. Most Romans worked between dawn and noon while the weather was cooler. By midday, the working day was over, and people would seek entertainment or visit the thermae or baths. Here they would socialize and attempt to clean themselves, although the process was scandalously unsanitary by contemporary standards. Things changed across Roman history, not least in terms of entertainment. But the most popular form of entertainment in Rome at the height of the empire was the chariot races at the Circus Maximus, an enormous stadium in central Rome that could accommodate 150,000 people. In the 2nd century BCE, the average resident of Rome, when the city was still the center of a republic governed by the Senate, would have been entertained in small Greek-style amphitheaters watching the comedic plays of Terence and Plautus. Yet, while plays remained important aspects of the entertainment on offer in Rome, the gladiatorial contests fought in the Flavian Amphitheater, better known to posterity as the Colosseum by the imperial period, were a greater draw. But the most popular form of entertainment in Rome at the height of the empire was the chariot races at the Circus Maximus, an enormous stadium in central Rome that could accommodate 150,000 people. The poor were given free entry to the circus, and most people in Rome would have supported one of the 4 main factions of charioteers, the red, blue, green, and white factions. Not for nothing did the 2nd century CE Roman satirist Juvenal claim that the people of Rome were kept docile through an endless stream of bread and circuses.